Ako talaga mo sa basta po man. Update aba wa ba mfuni la kita sola kan ba kita.
Good day, everyone. Welcome to our Think Tank Thursday meeting. My name is Lillian, and I will be your host for today. Thank you so much to each one of you for joining us for our session. Some ground rules, as we may already know, please ensure that you switch off your cameras as you join the meeting. They do affect the connection of the meeting, as well as your microphones, because your microphone will be heard from wherever you are. So please ensure that your microphones and cameras are switched off for the duration of the meeting. Thank you so much to each one of you, both youth supervisors and alumni, for joining us for the session. I see most of you already know the drill. You have started introducing yourselves in the chat box. Thank you so much for all those comments. I see we do have quite a lot of them, and I will read some of them before we start with the meeting. I see someone saying, "Good day, Puseletso Mabesele from MDS in Johannesburg. You're welcome." I see another comment. "Hello, everyone. Apia King from Hermanas joining with Keisha Sterman, Amanda Klassen, Sinesia Vuso, Lulega Tibiliga, Anita Tom, Tara Wilson, and Sinalo Zutkai. You're welcome. Hi, everyone. My name is Makatu from Bethlehem. You're welcome, Makatu. Andile Kunene from Inkonkoni Primary School. Thank you for joining us. Hello, Chifuan Dangeni from Pretoria, you're welcome. I see we have a couple of provinces online with us: Western Cape, Pretoria, Pumelela Pala from Umgalela, Western Cape in the building. Thank you. Aphelele Toko at Hidden Villas Guest House in East London. Thank you for joining us. Thank you so much for all those comments. I see we do have a lot of comments. I'm trying my best to keep up with everyone. So to be able to keep time, I will start with the presentation. And I'd just like to introduce our guest speaker for October. We have Mr. Bongi Radebe, who is a certified financial advisor and broker principal. And he will be sharing with us practical and viable solutions to manage your finances effectively. And I will just hand it over to Mr. Bongi to introduce himself further. Mr. Bongi, are you online with us?
Yes, I am. I'm right here.
Thank you for joining us, Mr. Bongi. You have the platform.
All right, fantastic. Thank you so much for the opportunity. Hi, everyone. I'm very excited to be here and have a chat with you guys. I hope that our discussion today will add a lot of value to everyone. Just to give you a bit of background on what I do and what my qualifications are in the industry of finance. I'm a certified financial advisor, meaning that I went to school to study how to assist people and give advice financially that is correct and in line with their vision. I'm also a certified debt counselor, but I'm not practicing, meaning that I've also been able to assist people who are over indebted to find solutions to come out of the financial situations that they are in and live a healthy financial space. On top of that, there's a lot of other qualifications that I have acquired over the years. But I think for today we can leave that. I am a broker principal, which means I look after a brokerage called Talk Insure, where we provide financial solutions and insurance-related solutions such as insurance for vehicles, insurance for life cover, insurance for medical aid, insurance for funeral policies, insurance for your business if you're running a business, and also insurance for employment benefits. And we also offer products like Discovery Bank. So anything that's insurance related, we do at Talking Shore. And also we give financial advice and talks such as these to add value to the market and to bridge the gap of financial awareness and financial literacy. I hope that's a good enough introduction.
It is a good
right.
introduction, Mr. Bongi. I think you can start with the presentation now. Thank you.
All right, fantastic. All right, guys, I'll try and because it's such a large group, I think we can have a session. What you can maybe do is I'll talk, and if you have any questions, I'll try and monitor the comments, and we can address them as we go. I've got a PowerPoint presentation that I'll share with everyone as we start. Oh, Time Bank is in the building, I see. Fantastic. All right, can we start? Are we good to go?
Yes, we are good to go.
All right, fantastic. Let me just get the share button. Oh, there we go.
I got one.
Switch to slideshow. Slideshows. It's going to the other side. Okay, let me just check. Okay, can you guys see my screen?
Can you zoom a bit, please?
Yes, we can
Zoom.
see the screen, Bongi.
Okay, all right, fantastic. I think we can start then. So some of the subjects, the purpose of this discussion is to pretty much share with you guys what we call financial literacy and good practices. This will be specifically focused on your personal space, so your personal finance. As young people that are entering the job market, there is a lot of access to financial spaces, and also based on your income, you'll be even given some credit that you might find exposure to. Now, the reality of finances, which people don't know, that we always assume that we need financial advice when we have $1 million. How many of us think of that? That if we don't have money, we don't need financial advice. But the reality of it is that financial advice in its truest sense is actually a practice. It's a way of life. It's just as good as when you have a healthy lifestyle, when you have a spiritual lifestyle. Financial literacy is also a lifestyle. So I'll give some examples as we go. And what we're going to look at in this specific conversation is to look at, as a lifestyle, what are the common practices that keep you at a good space and help you to manage your finances, so that as your money grows and you get to the numbers and you evolve financially, the way that you treat money is embedded in good practice. And that good practice can be a determination between a person staying rich or wealthy, as opposed to a person who is, for example, always working but feels always broke with the same amount of money. So we'll look at some of those aspects, and as we go, we'll realize some of them might speak to you personally, and if you have any questions, we'll ask them from there. All right. So as we start, some of the things that you'll take away, what I can commit to is, first of all, we'll give you some tools and key guidelines for you to be able to take home and utilize and apply immediately in your space to add some financial understanding and value into your life. That's one thing I can guarantee you. And on top of that, we'll also give you some access to resources should you need any further information. Okay. All right. So let's start with the reality. How many of us in this group are looking forward to being broke? Can we ask that? I'm checking the comments now to see if there's a yes. If there's a no, you can also say a no there.
Can you please repeat the question, sir?
The question is, how many of us here in the group are looking forward to being broke? Exactly. There's a lot of no's. So none of us are actually looking forward to being broke, because it's not somewhere where you want. The reality is, majority of the times, being broke speaks to how we handle and manage our money more than how much money we have. Okay, what do I mean by that? Me and you could have 10,000 rands in our account today. Okay, and in a week or two's time, one of us could be broke and the other one could be okay. And the difference between the two of us is probably because of how we approach that 10,000 that we have in our accounts. Okay, so that's what we are going to look at. We'll keep that example going in our space so that we can understand what I mean. So the first rule of having good financial practice is you have to set goals for yourself. Okay, financial goals. Just like we all have a goal to say, I want to buy a car, I want to drive a house. I want to drive a car, I want to have a house. Those are personal goals, those are achievement goals that we set. So as we set those achievement goals, you also need to set financial goals. Why are goals important? Goals help you to have a target of what you are working towards. Okay, so what are financial goals and how do we set them? Let's unpack that part. Okay, so okay. First of all, the reason why we need to set a goal is because saving goals give you a target to earn for, as I've mentioned. Okay, and what a savings goal is, so I'll also relate to my personal story. When I started working, I earned a stipend as well. It was a very long time ago, but I earned a stipend. My first job was actually, my first type of job, as you guys have, was at FNB. I was working in the bond center department where we're assisting people with home loans. So I had a stipend that I was earning. In that stipend, I realized that, you know what, this money is not enough for me to get anywhere, but I'd like to set a personal goal because I like the feeling of having money in my account. You know, it feels good to have some money. So I set a goal for myself. I said, I would like to have an achievement of see my account with 10,000 rands as a balance. You know, not that I have any plans for the 10,000 rands, but I wanted to see 10,000 rands in my personal space, in my account, being my money. I've never seen it at that point. I've never had 10,000. I wanted to see it and I wanted to sit in my account. I didn't want it to come and go tomorrow. I wanted it to be there. So I set that personal goal for myself. I said, I will work towards getting to 10,000 rands in my account. Now, what does that goal do for me? The next payment that I received or the next salary that I received, I now had an objective that I needed to reach. I had a purpose of what I'm going to do with my money. Okay, so goals are important. Each and every one of us have different goals. Or as you grow and you go higher, the goals can be in a certain amount. What we also suggest as a goal is to be able to set your 3 months salary in your account, have it as a reserve. We call it a reserve as a savings. So if you're earning 5,000 rands as an example, your target should be maybe 15,000 rands in my account so that I have 3 months of my salary in advance. Okay, why would you set a personal goal like that? I'll give you 2 quick answers. You probably have those answers for yourself. Number one, it helps you to be able to react differently in cases of emergency when it comes to finance. So financially, you would act differently in case you are more prepared for an emergency, a financial emergency in your space. Number two, when your income comes into your account, you are able to not utilize hand to mouth, a lifestyle of hand to mouth. So as it comes in, you are not utilizing it to depletion. You are able to allow money to sit in there and spend it on the right things that you need to spend it on. Thirdly, if you have a goal and you've built a financial reserve, you also don't emotionally react to certain conditions that speak to finances. For example, right now, all of us that are here, if we haven't built a buffer, when month end comes and we receive our salary, we are so excited that we are back again, we are alive, we go and we utilize and we spend that money because it feels new. Every month feels new. But if we had 10 or 15,000 rands in our accounts as a backup, when our salary comes in, your attitude is different. You're not going to sit there and say, oh my God, ingenile, or it has entered, the money is in, I'm ready to spend. It's nothing new. I've got that money in my account. So your decisions are different. Your month is just another day. It's not, you're thinking, what do I need to pay? What do I need to sort out? I'm not desperate to go and buy that bottle or that perfume. I don't need to do it now because I've got the money. I could have done it at any given point. So it gives you financial freedom in your way of thinking. And the starting of that, and it builds a mentality of wealth. So a mentality of wealth starts with personal goals. And from personal goals, you work towards those goals. And those goals will give you, in the long run, the freedom to be able to think differently with money. Okay. All right. Now, how do we get to this? First of all, you need to draft a financial plan. Okay. What is a financial plan? A financial plan, in the level of our engagement, because it's still new, simply put, our financial plan would be maybe to how do I reach my goal? Okay. As you evolve, as you grow, as there's more responsibilities, your financial plan can be a completely different plan. Some people that we engage with in our environment have a 5-year financial plan, a 2-year financial plan, and a 10-year financial plan, and also a financial plan for retirement. But that's now when you are looking at different spaces. In our conversation for today, when you start and you want to understand, a financial plan is a simple goal that you've set, whether it's to reach 10,000 rands in the next 12 months or 10 months, or to have 5,000 rands in your account, or to have 2 months salary in advance. That's a financial plan. So you draft it, you put it down, you note it somewhere, you say, this is my plan, this is my timeline, this is when I want to reach it. And now you've got yourself in a financial plan. You've got something that you've drafted. Okay, so in your financial plan, you set spending categories, you allocate towards your savings, you identify your income source. Okay, so as you draft your financial plan, remember we've set a goal now. We understand that in our goal, we need to achieve this goal in a certain way. We are now drafting how to get to the goal. So I know I want to get to 10,000. My journey, I'll share my journey, use myself as an example. I wanted to get to 10,000 rands. I was earning 4,500 at that point. At the 4,500, my transport, commuting from home to work, I was living with my parents, so I would travel from home to work at that point. I used to spend, let's call it 1,000 rands as an example. I also need to eat where I work, so there's a financial commitment, another 1,000. And then I need to contribute at home, so there's another 1,000. So I'm pretty much left with 1,500 for myself. After I've eaten, after I've gotten to work, after I've assisted at home. So I've got a roof, I've paid for the roof over my head, I've paid for my transportation, I've also paid for what I do, for what I eat at work. I'm left with 1,500 rands. Then I said, okay, out of the 1,500 rands, I can actually put away 700 rands every month. And then I calculated, if I look at the 700 rands over 10 months, it's going to give me 7,000. It's not enough. So I need to make a bigger sacrifice to reach my goal. The reality is, if you have a financial goal, you have to also make sacrifices towards your goal. So I ended up committing to 900 rands. So every month I had literally 600 rands to spend. When my friends that we were working with, they had 2,000 rands to spend. So you can imagine, you are the guy when people are buying certain types of lunch, you are the one who's sticking to your normal sandwich. You've got your lunch box. But in the bank account, after 3 months, I was a different person. I had over 3,000, 2,000, I think 2,700 in my account on month 3, when everybody else still lived the same lifestyle at 0. After 6 months, I had 4,500 in my account. That is growing when everybody was still living on 0. And after 10 months, I was sitting with 9,000 rands in my account. And that's when I started seeing that the sacrifices that I had made, I had never seen 9,000 rands sitting in my account, not ready to go, just waiting for me to decide what to do with it. And that's when I realized the value add of the sacrifices that I had made. So in the sacrifices and the journey of financial understanding, you need to understand that you have to do certain things differently from what everyone else is doing for you to be in a different space financially. So as people enjoy and reward themselves for their financial hard work, you are rewarding yourself by putting that and let it grow for you. Okay, now once you've done the plan, you've committed a certain amount, you've removed what you need. You need to now look further and say, realistically, how much can I afford? And this is where a budget comes into play. Okay, so what is a budget? For those that don't know, a budget is just like, so before I explain a budget, let's start here. Yeah. Oh, sorry, I think someone has muted, but let's carry on. So when we look at a budget, if you go to a doctor now,
Sorry about that, Mr. Bongi. You are muted. Please do unmute yourself.
can you hear me now? Okay, I think I'm
We
back
can
now.
hear
Is that
you.
correct?
Yes. Yes.
All right, great. I think okay. So where did you? I can't remember where did you hear the part about going to the doctor? Okay, well, I'll start there. So as I explained a budget, when you go to the doctor as an example and you're not feeling well, when you go to the doctor, you arrive at the doctor and you say, look, I'm not feeling well. There's a few tests that a doctor has to do before he can recommend medication. First of all, he'll check your breathing. He'll ask you a few questions. He'll check your blood pressure. He'll ask a few questions. And then based on the findings, he can then recommend a solution. That process of the doctor trying to understand what is wrong with you is what a budget does for us financially. So a budget is literally us being honest to ourselves to understand what we are spending on, what we are utilizing our money on, and how much we realistically have to spend in excess after paying everything. Okay, so let's use an example. I am now earning the same example we've been using, 4.5. In that 4,500 that I'm earning, I want to now create a budget. In my budget, to my friends, when they ask me how much to spend for rent and transport, I'll tell them I'm spending 3,000 rands for rent. In my budget, I need to be honest. If I'm paying 2.5 for 2,000 or 1.5 for rent, I put the 1.5 there. It's okay. I can say whatever I want to my friends, but the budget is your personal doctor assessment financially. So you need to be honest with yourself. And the only way to be honest with yourself when you do your budget is to go and look at what you really have spent your money on. Okay. The only way you can check how you really have spent your money on is to go to your financial accounts, your statement from your bank. You literally have to do this once or twice, then you'll have a good picture of where your money is going. So one Saturday, after we've had this conversation this weekend, if you really want to try this, you go this weekend, you log on to your bank app, you look at the statements, and you go line for line. So in the month of what's last month, August, how much did I debit or how much did I transfer for rent? Okay, I spent 1.5 for rent. You put that down as part of your expenses on the budget. Secondly, how much did I spend for transport? I withdrew 50 rands and this one I use for transport. So you document and allocate that money on everything that you spent. How much did I spend on entertainment? When I went to Spa to buy lunch, how much did I spend on lunch for the month? You make a documented list of all the things that you've spent your money on from your bank account into a structure which we'll call for now as a budget. In that budget, the first thing after you've done that exercise of looking at your bank account and actually making a note of what you've spent things on, it sounds like a lot of work, but the reality is it takes you only 20 minutes, 22 minutes to an hour. And what it does for you, it will give you a true reflection of where your money is going. You cannot fix anything that you don't understand or that you cannot measure. How can you fix your financial situation or understand it if you have not looked at it realistically? So if you're doing cash withdrawals that month, you know where that cash withdrawal went, you note it down, and you look and you see, actually, wow, in my mind, I thought I'm only spending 500 rands on food, but it turns out I'm spending 800 rands. So I'm overspending on the food, or I wasn't sure what I was spending on. That's what a budget does. A budget is a tool that helps you manage your money and avoid overspending. Okay? Now remember, we've got a goal. We've discussed a goal. Now we are looking at, now that I've got a goal, how do I achieve this goal? By a financial plan. A financial plan, you look at it and you say, how much do I want to achieve this goal by? I want to achieve it in 10 months or in a year. In that year that I've been earning, I'll have this much money. And then you say, okay, now that I've got a goal and I've got a plan, I know how much I want to, for me to get 10,000, I need to put 900 rands a month. Now that I've got a goal and I've got a plan, how much do I really have? How much am I spending? Where am I able to afford that 900 target that I've set? This is where the budget would then come in. The reality is, for good financial practice, one has to every month save around 30% of their salary. That is good financial practice in reality. Yes, certain times the financial spaces and the commitments we have already made don't allow, but I am sharing this as a future goal if you can't afford it now, to know that in the true sense of it, an individual should be able to put away 30% of their income towards what we call a reserve fund. A reserve fund is money that you are putting to grow for later. It should actually not even be money you're thinking of spending. It should be towards a reserve fund. That is common for people who do a lot of good practice financially. So it might sound new to you, but it's common for people who have good practice. Where do I start if I'm not doing that and I can't afford? You start small, you grow towards the 30%. So if I'm earning 4.5, I can start at 10%, which means I'm putting away 450 rands, but I'm working towards the next step, which is 900 rands, that's 20%, and then to 1,350, which would be the 30% that we're looking at. So for every 5,000 that you have, or 4,500 that you have, 1,350 should be your target goal to save every month after all is said and done. You can imagine it sounds like a lot of money right now, but if you sit at the end of the year and you've been putting 1,300, you are sitting with close to 15,000 rands in your account of money that is yours and it doesn't need to leave your account. That would be something that I wish for everyone in this group at any given day. Okay, so we understand now what good practice is. We have looked at how to draft a budget. I will give you a tool also that will make your budgeting journey a little bit easier. Now let's talk about why we call it financial good practice. Practice is something you keep working on. Just like in anything else, if we look at sports, you can be a natural soccer player, but if you don't go to training and you don't improve and practice your skill, you'll not get good at it. You can be a natural actor, but if you don't practice and invest time and grow your skill, you will not get used to it. You can be a spiritual person, but if you don't go and improve and practice your communication with God, it will also not work. So the same principles apply on your finances. The same principles, you have to stick to the plan. You have to practice what you have committed yourself to. And I can tell you, based on my personal experience, sometimes it's not easy. Sometimes it's tough to go to a space and say, no, I actually can't afford that because it's out of my personal budget. Those are the conversations that you must get comfortable to say at any given space, at any given point. No, I would love to have it, but unfortunately, I can't afford it. It's out of my budget at the moment. It might sound bad to everyone else out there, but to you, it's sticking to your goal. So we need to be disciplined. When it comes to financial goals, you need to stick to your plan because it's your personal goal. It's not someone that has set it for you. It's something that you want for yourself. So you need to apply a form of discipline. Okay. How do you apply discipline? You know, it's easy for someone to say you must have discipline, but it's something else to actually apply that discipline. So how do you do that? Very simple. You start by learning how to say no without offending anyone. When it comes to financial things, What I can share what I would used to say when my friends would ask us, guys, let's go out. Hey, you know what? We need to go out and have a good time and reward ourselves for our hard work. I would first say, guys, my budget for the going out today is actually 200 rands. That's all I can afford. And then obviously your friends, some might say, no, it's fine. Or my man, your budget is too low. We'll see you next time. Then it's okay. I've got a goal I'm working towards. I'd rather stay. I don't want to be a burden to you. I don't want to be, I can afford, I can go and I'll spend my 200. I can afford my 200. I know how to handle it. So when we do go out, instead of buying what you normally would prefer because it's cool, I would choose based on my budget. I've got 200 rands to spend. What can I afford? That's what I'm drinking, and I'm happy with that. Or that's the food that I'm buying. I'm happy with that. So you learn to say no because your goal is more important than spending right now. Okay, that's where the discipline comes in. Secondly, if you know that you can't say no, then you stop yourself from yourself. You prevent yourself from sabotaging yourself. What do I mean by that? At some point, I would know that if I have my car, then I committed to 200. If it's a good evening or, we at a friend's braai, and I'll then be that guy that says, you know what, I'll get the next things, guys. Don't worry, leave it to me. So the minute that happens, it deters you from your personal goal. So to prevent myself from doing that type of exercise, which it happens for a lot of us sometimes when we're in good spirits, we share the spirits with everyone, we share the energy with everyone, and sometimes that sharing attaches to finances. So I would then, to curb myself from doing that, I would withdraw the money that I've committed to for myself financially. So what I mean is, if I've said 200 rands, because last time I took my card and I ended up spending the same 700 or 800 rands that I didn't want to spend, and now my budget goal has moved away. So in future, I would then withdraw the money. I would take it out, have the cash in my hand, leave my card. These days it's a bit tricky because there's also a bank app, but you can find ways around those things. And I would then spend the physical money. When it's done, it's done. And let me tell you from experience, sometimes it's very tough to stretch the 200 rands in one evening. But the next morning, you look at yourself and you think, I actually did well. I stuck to my goal and I'm very proud of what I've done here. So that's where discipline is. No one says discipline is easy, guys, but in the reality of it, the value add that you will see as you continue this journey, as you continue this practice, speaks more volumes. It's also the difference between certain people staying rich and wealthy in the future and also staying broke even if they have money. We have seen both in our lives. A person that makes a lot of money and the next person at the same time, in a few months, that same person is very broke, and then they make a lot of money and they're broke and they make a lot. That person doesn't have good financial practice. And then you find a person that makes not as much money, but they're constantly upgrading their life. They are moving up because they stick to their financial goals and they work towards those. Okay. Now, as we talk about discipline, there's two tools that we generally recommend in our space that we work well with that will assist you in reaching your financial goal. Okay. The first one, as we touched on budgeting, there is an app called 22/7. I'll keep repeating it as we go on the training. It's a free app. It's sponsored by Old Mutual. So it's an Old Mutual app. They have written the app and are behind it. But it's a app, standalone app. What 22/7 is a budgeting app. And why I recommend it, there's a lot of other budgeting apps, but this one specifically plugs into your bank account. So what I mean by that, you authenticate into the app directly and it has access into your bank account. So as you transact, instead of now printing your statement and trying to copy it into a spreadsheet and seeing where your money goes, as you transact on your account, this 22/7 app syncs it and builds a budget for you and asks you, wait, yesterday you spent 550 rands. Where do we classify this? No, put that under lunch. And then it updates you. Now you have spent 400 rands on lunch. Wait, this cash deduction that you made of 200 rands, what is that for? That was for transport. Okay, now we've added an additional. So you literally update your budget as you spend, and it gives you an immediate picture of where your money is going. Remember, you can't measure anything that you can't grow or improve on anything that you can't measure. So the 22/7 app is an app that I recommend for anyone that's trying to move towards a space of financial awareness and health and good practice, download it. It's for free. You don't pay anything for it. You plug it into your bank app. You'll see the questions. You just literally log in and then it logs into your bank app, and it's private. It's built by a financial institution, so there's no risk of exposure. And on top of that, it gives you great feedback. It sends you emails, you reports monthly. It gives you a good picture every week of what you're spending on. It even gives you tips. This is the app you want for you to start your financial journey. Secondly, I recommend Discovery Bank app, because in your transactional part, let's say your 24/7 app, you're now monitoring weekly. Your Discovery app also does exactly the same, but within the app itself. So as you bank, you also have a financial coach that's advising you, instead of just transacting and waiting to figure it out. As you transact, it gives nice summaries. It's a very interactive app, and it speaks to modern needs, and is big on encouraging financial savings. So those are the two tools that I will put on the table for you guys today to start with. There's obviously a lot more that I would recommend, but for today's conversation, as tools to start your financial journey, those are the ones to look at. Okay. Now, what is a financial safety net? We've touched on this a bit. Okay. The good practice, as I've said before, is to look at saving about 30% of your salary. We start at 10. If 30% is a lot currently, you move to 20, you move to 30. And the moving means as you start on 10, certain things you will start now being able to say no. Because the biggest problem we have half the times is that we can't say no on the money that we have worked hard on. But somebody comes to you and we need to show them that we can afford even when we can't. So you put yourself and your entire hard work at jeopardy for the sake of having somebody says, well done, you can afford. That is not the right approach to building wealth. Sacrifice and discipline to reach your own personal goals is what we speak to. And if you have a 3 months buffer, which is our target now, as an example of 15,000, even if anything happens now, you're no longer worried about what am I going to pay this thing with. Okay. How to spend wisely. Okay. This speaks to what we've discussed as well, that you need to understand your spending first before you can say I'm spending wisely. So we've touched on the apps that you can utilize. You need to document your spending, see it visually. And I can tell you, I do this even till today with our clients some people are earning serious money above 100,000 a month. And we still do this exercise where we're sitting and we're saying, let's look at where your spending is and where your money is going. And the feedback that I can give you as we're having these conversations, yes, you are not earning 100,000 a month. You are probably earning whatever amount you're having, but the difference is really the zero. The attitude remains the same. If you are used to having emotional reactions to your finances, even when you're earning R1 million a month, you will still be the same person. If you want to fact check, you see it even out there currently. There are people that will post and tell us how they're doing retail therapy, and there's people that grow their wealth. And they are not posting anything, but they keep buying and accumulating assets. They're buying houses, they're doing investments. And when it comes to retirement, we see a lot of our South African people coming and saying, guys, please donate. I've spent all my money. I used to have a great job because there was no financial good practice. So it's not about how much you earn. It's about your discipline towards your money that you have worked hard for, or that God has blessed you with. Sometimes it's contribution, but either way, your attitude and your practice and how you look at money, the discipline behind it, the understanding that not everything that comes into my account needs to be spent, at least 30% needs to go somewhere. That is the value add. So how do we unlearn bad habits? And what are bad habits financially? Okay. The first bad habit that majority of people have is to have emotional decisions on financial spaces. What do I mean by that? You react for your emotional disturbance. You react with it financially. You take your money to answer your emotional happiness or sadness. That is a bad financial habit. Emotional responses should speak to emotional things. Financial decisions to speak to financial logic. You need to separate the two. Let me give you an example. Today, I go for an interview, I get a job, okay? I'm currently in a job and I get another job. I'm so excited, I phone my friends, let's go and celebrate. I go and celebrate. I spend my last 2,000 rands because I got a job. Emotionally, I'm excited. I'm spending emotionally as well. Okay, let's use another example. I'm having a difficult time at home. Maybe I've got stress with my family, or as an example, I'm fighting with my partner. We don't have a good time. I say, you know what? Stuff this. I'm not going to deal with this problem. I need some retail therapy to fix my problems because I'm not okay. Yes, the reward is great to swipe and spend your own money, but in the next morning when the SMSs come and you see your balance, you are actually worse off than where you were the day before. So it's another emotional reaction, a positive and a negative, but the end result is it's hitting the financial spaces. So as a person, we need to unlearn those bad habits. The first thing you do is you need to understand that if I'm upset, I'm upset. Let me deal with my emotions. Let me not attach my finances to it. It's not the space to attach anything to. Finances are finances. And if I'm happy, I'm happy. If I'm going to celebrate, let me stick to my budget. Remember, we talked about discipline. Let me stick to my budget. If it's not within my budget, let me wait until my budget allows for me to be able to do that. That is the financial discipline that takes you from a normal person that we all have with bad practices to a person that's building their wealth regardless of the amount that they have in their bank account. Okay. The second approach, which is a bad habit, it's my money mentality. You know what? I can afford it. It's my money. Don't tell me I'll spend my money how I want. It's all good and well. You also need to deal with when you don't have money, how you want. But the problem is when the money is no longer there, it's our problem as a community to help you to get through the problem. But when you are spending, it's not our problem. You know, one of my shows that I watch a lot that really touches my heart because majority of people that are there are people that could have had this conversation with us and would have made better decisions. There's a show called I Blew It, where you watch people having this, it's my money attitude. You know, there's no discipline, attaching emotions to spending, and it goes as quickly as your emotions react. Our emotions as humans, if we attach them to our finances, we are in for a very volatile journey. We are in for ups and downs because emotions are generally up and down. So we need to understand that it's my money, but I have a goal that I need to speak to. And for it to stay my money, I need to stick to my goal. If it's my money and I spend it with the way that I want to, it's not going to be my money for very long. Okay. Another thing which I've already touched on is retail therapy. Guys, retail therapy is for people that have already answered all their financial commitments and they have money to spend. It's the people that have saved their 15,000 rands and now their salary doesn't speak to their 15,000 rands. Even if the salary doesn't come, they've got 3 months of the path. That's a person that can qualify to go for retail therapy of a certain amount because it doesn't affect their spending. We as normal day-to-day people are taking our finances that we've worked hard for that are supposed to answer certain things and we go and we use them at retail therapy for a short reward or items that sit in our wardrobes. But the problem is we then sit after that and we have to deal with the financial repercussions of our decision. So those are bad habits when it comes to finances. How do we fix them? We stick to our budget, we stick to our plan, we learn to say no for us. So the no is not, no, leave me alone. It's no, it's out of my plan, it's out of my financial plan currently, or I can't afford this one right now, but thank you for the offer. Or a little bit later, not now. Discipline and goals help us to unlearn the bad habits. Okay? So we've touched on the budgeting apps. It's on app stores. It's on Google. I mean, not Google. Sorry. What do you call Android? You can find it. And for the Discovery Bank app, we have a team here in our office that will assist you with opening a Discovery Bank app so that we can tell you the benefits of the app itself and how to get a bank account. If you're interested in that, please, I'll leave my information on the side. Then you can drop us an email or contact us in our office. We'll be able to assist you. It literally takes 15 to 20 minutes. I encourage you guys to do have a look at it, engage, and then let's see and start our financial journey. Okay, so All right. I actually don't want to speak too much about the Discovery Bank app, but what I can tell you is we've seen some positive feedback when it comes to a person using the 22/7 app, when it comes to banking and giving feedback for your budgeting, and also using an interactive banking app that gives you constant feedback. The reality of financial independence, and in closing on our discussion, is that it's actually a lifestyle. Going from rich to wealthy is a lifestyle. Knowing how to stretch your money is a lifestyle. It starts by being disciplined. It starts by sticking to your goals. And when you have 1,000 rand and you have a friend that has 1,000 rand, all of a sudden, because you have gotten yourself used to having good financial practices and being able to say no to things that are outside your goal, and being able to understand your budget and look at it monthly, that friend will come to you every month and borrow money because you know exactly where your money has gone. In week 2 of your month, you can look at yourself and say, look, I know I'm probably in my account left with another 600 rands because my budget tells me I've already spent X, Y, and Z on this. Now, in closing, here's another way of coping as you start, because discipline sometimes takes practice. You'll get it wrong certain times, you'll get it right certain times. What I also found myself doing once I had achieved, I'll share my story also in closing. Once I had achieved the 10,000 rands target, which, to be honest, I have never been so happy to see money that much in my account without anybody paying me. I had built it myself. I had built myself a 10,000 rand target into my account. When I moved up and I started earning more money, guess what my new target was? I wanted to have 100,000 rands in my account at some point. And now that I had done 10,000, I was earning a little bit more at that point. I was earning, I think, around 12 or 15,000 rands. I can't remember exactly. I then decided, you know what? I want to have 100,000 rands in my account. But because I'd done it with a small amount, I did exactly the same thing, just the zeros grew. I now went back to my budget. I said, okay, how much can I afford? I had a plan. My plan is to get to 10,000 to 100,000 rands in 12 months. I looked at my budget. How much my budget told me that I actually can afford 5,000 rands. Then I said, okay, now my target is 100,000. I can only afford 5,000. So instead of the 12 months that I'm targeting, this one I have to push for 18 months. Do I really have the patience? Yes, I want to have 100,000 rands. I want to sit and spend my 200 rands at night, but knowing that I've got 100,000 rands in my account. And guys, in the trueness of it, I got to a point where I achieved that. It didn't take me the exact 18 months because sometimes there's unforeseen circumstances that happen. But in 24 months, I remember I looked at my account. I had 100,000 rands. I slept smiling that day. And, do yourself that favor, give yourself that opportunity to have good financial practice and see the rewards. And once you see the rewards and you taste them, I can tell you going forward, you don't have to be rich to understand wealth. Because even in times when money isn't there, you are able to stretch it further than somebody who is still spending on emotions. A person who's spending on emotions, when they're on their last 200s, they will go and spend it. You will understand that I am disciplined financially. I don't need to do that. I know my budget. This is what I need to stick to. This is how I'm getting to, and etc. So I think I will end my session there. If you guys have any questions, please do ask. There is, just before I open the floor for questions, I just want to mention also, this is an introduction conversation. There is the other side of the coin where you are already in trouble. How do I get out of that? There are certain ways of getting out. If you guys would like me to touch on that quickly, okay, sorry, I see there's some questions about the apps. Just 1 second for me, guys. I'll handle those on the side. So if you want me to also touch on how I'm already in trouble financially, how do I get out of it? Please just comment on the comments and then I can maybe quickly give a chat on that. Okay, I see someone says, please do touch on it. All right, 100%. Okay, so as part of my journey, I was also a debt counselor at some point. So I assisted people that were over indebted, who had already made a mess, who had already spent on emotions. And the interesting part, as I'll keep reiterating to you guys, being wealthy is not about how much money you have in the bank. It's about your attitude towards money. So the approach that we have towards money, that's where you correct it. Now, at some point, because of the attitude of I can afford it, it's my money, people overcommit. Banks will give you credit. Credit is good if you understand and you stick to your plans, because sometimes you need extra money. But if you have a goal and a plan that I'm taking this credit, I need to be out of it in 24 months, I'm going to stick to my plan. You are in a healthy space, but people don't. We get the credit, then we want to do other things and spend it, and we it's my money all of a sudden, and we get into trouble. Now, if you are in trouble, let's use a simple example, and myself included. There was a point I was in trouble, guys. I am human. There's no perfect person. We go through where you're financially in trouble, and but what helped me come out of it is the conversation I'm going to share with you guys. When you have debt, you need to prioritize your debt. Okay, I'll use accounts as an example. Maybe I owe MTN. I had a prepaid contract, or I've got a cell phone that I bought on credit, or I've got a clothing credit account. I've got 5 accounts. Okay, I owe 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000 to keep the conversation simple. So I've got 3, 1,000, 2,000, and 5,000. In these 3 accounts, I'm owing in a total of 20,000 as an example. Here's how you overcome your journey of debt. Already, the fact that you are over indebted tells you that you don't have enough money available to sort out your debts. Okay, so in that space, because you are over indebted, you start with your smallest debt. So what I mean, the smallest balance. So in my 3, let's say my clothing account, I owe 1,000 rands. My target is to finish the 1,000 rands while I'm paying the normal amounts for the other one. So I don't overpay on anything. I focus on the smallest debt. I finish that one first. The minute I'm finished with that, the money I was paying in the smallest account, I then add it to my installment of the second smallest account. So for example, if I was paying 100 rands for my 1,000 rand account, I contribute every cent to finish it. Now I've got 100 rands that are additional. I will take that 100 and whatever else I was adding and contribute it as an additional payment to my second lowest account. Once I've completed that one, I then contribute the balance to my third account. If you practice it, so you take the smallest, you contribute every little resource to finishing that. You take the same resource with everything and you add it to the second largest until you are left with your biggest account to focus on. That's how you get out of debt, one small chunk at a time. And eventually, same principles we've discussed on today, also you need to apply. You go and you do a budget, you see how much you can afford, you discipline yourself, you commit to it. Realistically, sometimes there are months where things happen that are out of your control. All that should do for you as you adjust on those months is to stretch your timeline of your target a little bit longer. So instead of finishing your goal in 18 months, I understand because of a disturbance, I'm now on 22. But it must never stop your plan. Your plan is important for you, for what you are trying to build. Guys, I hope the conversation that I've touched on has helped. And I am open now for questions. I see B has raised their hand. I think anyone that has a question, please do ask.
Hi, hello.
Yes.
My name is Botle.
Yes, but
Yes, so I actually like how you touched on the credit score. I'm a victim. I once made a mistake when I started getting a job. I'm like getting all these accounts and stuff like those, and then it actually contributed huge on my credit score, and it affected me. But another
Yes.
thing that I want to get more information on, it's on the emergency fund, right? So I
Yes.
know can have like, I always thought, or you can also, rectify me in terms
Yeah.
of the emergency fund and also having a savings account. Is it 2 separate accounts, or how does it work? Also, if you can just touch base in terms of the investments,
Yes.
investments accounts in a sense of probably like easy equities where one can like build up their money, and how does one try to diversify the difference between an emergency account, a savings account, and an investment account?
Sure. That is a wonderful question. It's actually part of right at what I do currently. What I would suggest, I'll touch on it quickly now, but maybe we'll have a follow-up session. I'll just chat to the powers that be, and we can unpack, because what you are asking now is exactly where we need. Those are the conversations we have. That's the next level that we have, where we're now talking, how do I make my money grow for me? Okay. How do I, as I put this money aside, how do I convert this money so that at least it's not sitting and doing anything, but it's working for me. It's generating 10% more. You normally hear people saying you must let your money work for you and while you sleep. All that
Yeah.
means is that your money is put in the right places. So 10% of 10,000 rands is 1,000 rands. So if I gave you 1,000 rands today for doing nothing, how would you feel?
Obviously, I'd be happy. But I'm
Right?
one person that I always sit down and I'm like,
What's the
what?
catch?
Yeah.
Yeah, but the reality is that's what they mean when they say my money is working for me while I sleep. They've invested their money in good spaces that it grows even when they sleep annually. So the spaces, to answer your first question, savings account and a emergency account, the concept is the same. It's a financial buffer. The definition of a savings and an emergency is where you are putting the money and how you're accessing it. So a savings account, you can easily save and access it. A savings account, you are saving it, so to access it becomes not easy. For example, a 32-day account, or what I would suggest as tax-free investment as an example. And then an emergency buffer is something that if you need it tomorrow, you can access it. But at that point, you need to have some form of financial discipline. But either way, both of them, you need to build a buffer financially. That's what they speak to. Investment vehicles for your money is a separate session altogether. There is a huge difference. There are different benefits. I would recommend that we probably have another session where I will unpack it with you guys. But I would say the starting point is definitely let's build a buffer first so that as the money sits there, it moves to somewhere. Easy equities and those spaces, those are all investment vehicles. But half the times you put your money in there and you don't know what you're looking for. Also, people are looking for get rich quick schemes, which is not a reality. Guys, if you give me your 3,000 and I turn it to 30,000, you're gonna have to look for me for your 3,000 at some point, and my phone will be off. So building wealth is a long-term journey. People that are wealthy, even in today's times, one of the wealthiest guys, Warren Buffett, he didn't do anything different. He had a financial plan. His was 5 to 10 years. He kept putting money aside. When he had money, he bought assets, which are investment vehicles, and he just kept doing that. He's got a great discipline when it comes to financial practice. He lives in the same house as lived in 20 years ago. He's a billionaire, so he's not spending on emotion, although he's extreme. But in his extremeness, for some of us, because we believe we need to live in his extremeness, he's also accumulated a position where he's the richest man in the world. So me and you don't have to be that extreme, but if we understand the principles, what we do with the money after that is a separate conversation. And those I do have answers for you guys on the next session that we have.
Okay. Actually love that. All right.
All
Thanks.
right. Thank you. Anyone else that has a question? I see I'm going to stop sharing my screen and I'll just take the conversation. Yeah. Let's have a look. Is there any other question from you guys?
Good day, everyone.
Good day.
I wanted to ask regarding the app. You said it's from Standard Bank, right?
Which are we talking, the 22/7 app?
The 22/7.
Yeah, it's originally from
Yes.
it's designed by Old Mutual for financial health,
Old
actually.
Mutual.
So Old Mutual.
Okay, so how do I link it? Because I've downloaded it, but I do not know how to link it with my app, banking app.
So have you registered on the app already?
Yes, I have.
Okay, somewhere in there. Sure. So I've used it a couple of times, guys, but I'm not the app specialist. So normally when we download it, we don't also You know what I'll do? Can we, just to save time, can I arrange a document that will go through step-by-step process? I'll ask All Mutual to send us that document, and then it will help you guys to be able to go through the guidelines, and I'll send it to I'll just check who I send it to, maybe Dineo or somebody who can forward it to you guys, and then it will be part of the distribution that they offer to you if you are interested. Is that okay?
Thank you so much, sir. It's going to be useful. Thanks.
All
Bye.
right, perfect. All right, fantastic. Anyone else that has guys, if you do want to open a Discovery account as well as part of the discussion we have, please send your let me put the email address here, so that our team can assist you. You can forward it to assist@topinsure.co.za. Okay, and our team of advisors will give you a call. We'll go through the whole facilitation of onboarding you, and we'll be able to assist you. There are some plans that we look at. We can switch between the plans when you need to. Once the bank has been activated, Discovery also lets you download the app. Once you've downloaded the app, you have it in there, and they will call you to send you the card. You do need to have a smartphone to activate somebody says there's no sound. Can you guys hear me?
Yes, we are able to hear
Yes,
you,
we can
Bongi.
hear you.
Oh, okay. All right. Perfect. Yeah. So you can download the app. I've put the email address on our site there, assist@talkinshort.co.za, and our team will give you a call. And as they give you a call, we'll assist you with activating your Discovery app. It's a great tool to have. And then what I'll do in the follow-up session, we'll look at investment vehicles, and maybe also just to help you and be proactive before we have the session, you can maybe forward Dineo or whoever the facilitator is on your side, any questions you'd like us to also touch on so we can discuss and unpack. I really do wish a financially a successful journey in your life. Guys, choose you when you make decisions of your finances, because trust me, it's the difference between being able to get to a point where even at your worst time and your lowest, financially, you're able to stretch the little money that you have, as opposed to being the person that everyone is currently, where we react emotionally. We want to know our health, we want to know our spirituality, we want to know our social standing, but we are so scared of understanding our finances, which is the difference between success and failure in anything we do. Thank you.
Wow, thank you so much, Mr. Bongi. I have shared a poll asking if the session benefited the youth, and we've had so much great insights. I see the comments as well saying this was a great session. Thank you so much for allowing us your time and also the information that you've shared with us. For any details regarding the app and any user guides that all of you have asked for, it will be shared with you once we do have the information. Please ensure that you do also complete the attendance survey before you leave the meeting. It has been shared in the chat box. Please do not exit the meeting without completing it. Thank you so much for joining us, to all youth, and also to you, Mr. Bongi. We do appreciate your time.
Thank you, guys. And all the
Thank
best.
you.
We'll
Thank
see
you.
you soon. All right. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye,
Thank you, Chair.
everyone.
Bye.
Bye, Mr. Bongi. Appreciate it.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye, guys.
Bye.
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 Bye, bye, bye.
Bye.
Thank you so much.
Oh, no cameras. No. Oh my God. Bye, guys.
Sir.